Chapter 25. Finally, my luck was not too bad. My right foot was only sprained and not fractured. As long as it didn't hurt the muscles and bones, the wound on the surface of the body would heal quickly, but there was still a faint scar on the forehead. Everything seems to be just a stone thrown on the surface of the water. After a few waves, the ripples will eventually subside, then everything will return to calm, and there will be no traces of it. Of course, things are not so simple. Some traces are difficult to remove once carved. Even if they are covered with ashes of time, they are still hidden under the ashes. After the incident, I asked my help me hand in my resignation letter to Oh Young. I didn't go to the Emerald Forest, but just rested at home. The whole story, apart from me and Min, tacitly agreed. Other people didn't know the cause and effect. I only mentioned a little accident and took it lightly. Although everyone felt strange, it was inconvenient to delve into the restraint and politeness that urban people used to do, so that's all. In the following days, Min never mentioned what happened that day, as if nothing had happened. He also continued to maintain his usual attitude towards me. Although he came to visit me every day and bring fresh fruits and foods, he only silently took good care of me without asking for more demands. I know in my heart that this is actually exactly Min's gentleness and delicateness. He only hopes that I can live as usual, and he doesn't want any external sudden factors to affect my attitude and decisions in my life. For this, I will always be grateful to him. Since my confided all her thoughts to me that night, she seemed to let go of her heavy burden, and she no longer forced herself to take the thorny road that was not suitable for her. In fact, the reason why my mother's department store chose their small company to take over responsibility is also one of the agreements between them, including several Japanese companies that have signed long-term contracts with the company in the past 2 years. She had already put pressure on so my decided to terminate the cooperation with Oh Young after the project was completed. She had already talked to Oh Young, and Oh Young expressed that he understood my plans to go out for further studies and has already started contacting the school. After knowing Oh Young's orientation, I finally understood why Oh Young always seemed so gentle and restrained. I won't despise him because of this. It's not Oh Young's fault, it's just a joke between God and human beings. There is nothing we can do about this. My decided to leave, and Oh Young respected her choice. He has his own close friends, and he is also an insider. He has already achieved quite a lot. They plan to work together and consider going to North America for further development. I will always be grateful for Oh Young's brotherly tolerance and love. Jiayin is the purest and brightest color among us. Her innocent and hearty enthusiasm infects the people around her like the sunshine in spring. There is no complicated depression experience, and in Jiayin's nature, she retains a kind of clearness and cuteness like a child. For her, life is nothing big except death. The biggest trouble every day is nothing more than too few high-quality handsome men who come to the bar, and occasionally bring girlfriend. In the eyes of many people, Jiayin's ignorance may be equivalent to being an idiot and mentally retarded, but in my opinion, this is really Jiayin's greatest luck and blessing. If possible, how much I hope Jiayin can live such a simple and happy life. And Chase, since that night, disappeared from the world. Min didn't see him when he sent the camera bag to Chase's studio the next day. Later, he heard that they had not heard from Chase for half a month, and the studio was in chaos. Finally, his lawyer came forward and said that Chase decided to end his commercial photography career and close the studio. He also pay everyone's salary half a year's in advance. In retrospect, a cold and indifferent expression photos of me wearing a large men's white shirt and jeans under the gloomy sky have become Chase's last set of commercial photography. It is full of narrow and sadness. Chase ran away alone and ran away in a loss, and from then on, he chose to disappear. Actually, I don't intend to blame Chase. On the contrary, I have deep sympathy for him. It must be very difficult for a person to carry such a heavy cross on the road of life, right? How much courage does it take to persevere in not giving up on oneself but always moving forward with high spirits? Everyone is naturally puzzled by the sudden disappearance of Chase, but the metropolis has no shortage of strange people, and people will gradually forget it over time. And I can't forget Chase's desperate and sad look. A long time later, I recalled this equally beautiful and cynical face. Although I no longer remember his facial features, I can clearly see the evil smile flashing in the depths of the engraved slanting phoenix eyes. Chase, where are you now? Are you all right? I hope time can heal the wounds of your heart. I hope you can find your own peace and tranquility as soon as possible. I hope that life in the future will be more peaceful and sunny after the storms are dispersed. Anyway, everything is different. Although the five of us seem to still care about each other, in fact, it is no longer the same as before. The balance has been broken. Like a calm deep sea on the surface, but the tides are surging inside. Except for Jiayan, who paid no attention to this subtle change, the other four remained silent, and everyone carefully maintained their friendship and affinity with each other. That's enough. We are just strangers we meet by chance on the journey of life. No one has the responsibility to accommodate anyone. Willing to maintain such care is nothing more than cherishing and nostalgia for the warm feeling when we snuggle up to each other. It's enough to cherish it. In October, Mai officially left the company after finishing the work at hand, and began to look for the school to apply for a visa. I insisted that I would not take back the money I lent at the beginning. I only said that after Mai has successfully completed her studies and earned a large amount of money, she will be liquidated and the interest will be doubled. I also know that Mai probably doesn't lack the money, but this fin check doesn't mean stacks of cash to me. It feels like some kind of materialization between me and Mai. I have been used to getting together and being separated since I was a child, but I don't know when I started to have the temper of being happy and not happy, so my heart gradually rejected separation, and I always hoped to grasp something as a bond, instead of waving my hand. Mom's department store opened successfully. It is said that the design of the whole project was very successful. Before the company officially opened, it was already attracting attention. The number of customers on the opening day exceeded expectations, and it soon became a new generation of fashionable youth. Hotspot has become a new aristocrat in the city's department store industry with its trendy high-end and mainstream Japanese fashion trends. In fact, Young and Mai are really powerful, not just based on secret deals with Mother, but their achievements in the industry are also the result of hard work that is obvious to all. After Mai left, Young supported the company by himself, and at the same time discussed cooperation matters with his friends. They would expand their business to overseas markets, and if everything went well, they would gradually shift their focus there. We all know that the domestic market is in the ascendant, and such a decision is undoubtedly a huge sacrifice, but there are many things that are more important than making more money. Looking at Young's appearance, there is no regret at all. If he can get the happiness he wants, those of us who are friends will naturally be sincerely happy. Until the end of the whole project, Mom didn't let anyone convey any new intention to me. She was so proud. Maybe my mother is lonely as well. Suddenly, a thought flashed through my mind, which I had never thought of before. I had a moment of soft-heartedness, but in the end I won't go back to Japan. Give me some time, I thought silently. I still need some time to sort out my thoughts. When I figure it out, I may be able to face my mother calmly. I took a rather tedious job, drawing illustrations for a novel called The City of Monsters. I needed a total of 12 drawings before Christmas. I didn't like such gloomy and enchanting themes at first, but after reading the novel, I changed my mind. The story is about the future of a certain metropolis. Technology is extremely advanced and material is extremely abundant, but people rely too much on technology and gradually lose their self-creation and expression. Everyone's hearts are increasingly desolate, but the government is not responsible for the hearts of citizens. So in order to relieve the depression, some people created their own monster companions according to their own thoughts, but there are more and more monsters. And monsters from various twisted minds have their own thoughts because they are endowed with artificial intelligence. In this monster's city that lacks warmth, the monsters can't find the warmth and care they desire and need, so they tend to go crazy and lose control. They hurt themselves and the humans who created them. In the face of disasters, human beings began to unite to fight against each other, but the rigid social system and robot system in turn became the shackles of human beings. In the end, no one was victorious in this war. In the end, only a few monsters and humans survived. Facing the disintegrating wreckage of the city, everyone suddenly realized that the things that humans and monsters are struggling to pursue are the same, that is, the hearts that fit each other and the warmth of seeking each other. The birth and end of the monster city lies in the word love. With love, there is hope, and the dark monster's city can also become a paradise. This story is actually not very new, but the text is very meaningful and condensed, with a calmness and ridicule that points directly to people's hearts. But between the cold and fluent lines of metal texture, I clearly interpret the author's deepest expectations for warmth and love. This moved me very much, and it was it that accurately hit and moved me. Reading such a novel is like reading one's own heart. So I decided to take the job, and I'm going to put more effort into it than usual. In the following time, drawing these 12 illustrations became my most important task. This job was not completed until Christmas Eve, just before the manuscript was due. So everyone was busy. Min's garden greening project in Hangzhou also requires him to travel frequently, sometimes for a week. I also rarely spend time in the Emerald Forest. Only Min spent the whole night with Jiayan in his spare time. Mai and Oh Young also rarely appeared, especially Oh Young, who spent almost all of his time preparing for the establishment of a new company and maintaining an inventory of the old company's business. Maybe because he was too busy, Oh Young looked haggard, but it didn't affect his gentleness in the slightest. Everyone could see that Oh Young was doing what he wanted to do, and no amount of red blood could hide the firm and optimistic look in his eyes. There are fewer opportunities for everyone to get together, and there is a faint smell of romance. Jiayan felt a little disappointed, but she soon became happy again. Xiaobai, you can do it so well. I'm proud to have you as a friend. Alas, lovely Jiayan, it is our blessing to have a friend like you. Although Min deliberately maintained a close and discreet friendship with me, we both knew that something had changed between us. Living upstairs and downstairs is the right time and place, and mutual deeds are more harmonious. In the eyes of others, we are also the perfect match for the golden boy and girl. Since that accident, Min has been more caring towards me, although he has adopted a more subtle attitude. It is only out of respect and consideration for me. As long as I show a little bit of unease and refusal, Min will immediately subtly divert the current behavior and topic. But this way, my heart is more and more uneasy. How can I bear such deep affection? But I know that for Min's kindness, being able to accept it calmly is probably the best return I can do. Sometimes I just hate myself. Why, now that you have touched the pain in the depths of your mind, why not simply pull it out? This kind of hesitation and cowardice is not like mother's daughter. Mom is actually a strong and courageous woman. She has decided early on to achieve her goal through her own way. From one man to another, she is not controlled by them. On the contrary, she makes good use of them. I still remember that my mother once smiled and told Sue, Happiness and unhappiness are two different things, or don't be too extravagant and it will not be easy to be disappointed. So what? The person I love doesn't love me, it doesn't really matter who the person who loves me is. Now that I think about it, I have to admit that my mother is a calm and strong woman, at least she always knew exactly what she was doing and what she wanted. I am so much worse than my mother. You know that, but you pretend to be an ostrich and bury your head in the sand. I want to change, but I hesitate to move forward. Even if you plan to jump, you will cover your ears and avoid closing your eyes. Finally, you fell to such a wandering halfway, with a vast edge character struggling like a clown, and even made a lonely performance without an audience. No one pushed me to this position, neither did Mom, nor did Sue. From beginning to end, I wrote, directed and acted in a one-man show. Now that someone is finally willing to help me out of trouble, I have lost the courage to respond and try. God knows. He seemed to be used to my embarrassing situation. Maybe it's quite enjoyable. What do you want me to do with you? Many times, I have seen such subtext in the eyes that Min casts over. However, I despised myself like this, and I retreated more and more into my own little cave, not daring to look back. Alas. Min sighed long and had to rub my hair and laugh. Before Christmas, the streets and alleys began to have a festive atmosphere. Whenever I see Christmas wreaths hanging from the door of some shops on the street, and big Christmas trees with colorful lights, I can't help but feel sad. That Christmas 2 years ago, Sue and I spent together in Paris. There seems to be a hint of cotton candy sweetness left in my mouth. And on that night of the millennium, I finally clearly expressed my love for Sue, and got a warm embrace as I wished. And then? Such beautiful stained glass windows, such a beautiful sound of the Scarborough Fair, and Sue cold fingers and warm and bitter tears. I shook my head vigorously, not allowing myself to think about it any longer. The illustration was finally completed, and the manuscript handed in was so excellent that the editor screamed. That's natural, I was moved by my own brushstrokes, just as I was moved by the novel itself. Mai's visa has been issued, and she plans to go to New Zealand. I like that grassland pasture, it's so broad and beautiful. I want to use the most beautiful nature to cleanse and broaden my mind. Haha. The beauty said, blinking her eyes and looking up and laughing, as charming and enchanting as before. On Oh Young's side, everything is going well. If nothing goes wrong, he and his close friends will promote their business to North America in the next year. The name of their new company is Wing. We all hope to have a pair of wings that spread the sky, and hope that Oh Young and his friends can fly thousands of miles together to create happiness. Min's project at hand also ended on time. We decided to get together in the Emerald Forest on Christmas Day and have a party all night long. This may be the last wild party of our 5 best friends. End of chapter 25.